what we did during ICP sessions, mainly without letting any of the magic out or anything like that, is the professionalism. You know what I'm saying? You have a steady studio squad, yourselves, you put yourselves on a nice schedule, a regular schedule. You treat that shit like it's a job. You literally set up a schedule, you know? You execute it like that. You stick to that schedule, you know what I'm saying? And that's one of the main things that I took away from that.
Friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears. Hello, everyone. You're listening to the MC Lars podcast. This is episode 112. It is Monday, November 30th. I hope you all had a happy Thanksgiving. Thanks to everyone who came to see the Four-Eyed Horseman post-Thanksgiving stream on Saturday. Shout out to my DJ Atlas, holding it down. We're doing another remote concert on December 26th, the holiday-themed one. And it's just awesome how well these remote concerts have been going. And it's really cool hearing from people say, well, you know, you never come to Fairbanks, Alaska. You never come to freaking Darwin, Australia. People tuning in remote places who wouldn't be able to see us on tour. And in a way, the pandemic has helped us connect with y'all more. And y'all have been very generous to buy tickets. And thank you. The holiday one's going to be super tight. I'm also doing a New Year's Eve show for First Night Monterey, which is the festival in Monterey I always play. And they're doing it remote, so I'll have more info on that. But yeah, a lot of concerts this year, even though the venues have shut down. My guest this week, DJ Clay, talks about that. And this is a man who not only did he have and recover from COVID, his own label that he started has been putting out tons of music, AR Entertainment. He has a new hot sauce. His new record is called Over the Fear Of, and the hot sauce is named after that. This guy, DJ Clay, I've seen him play with ICP and solo with Shaggy. I did a show with them at their Dark Carnival Games convention in Denver. And then I saw DJ Clay tour with them on the Bang Pow Boom tour, I think. But anyway, he does these mixtapes for them, the Let 'Em Bleed mixtapes for Hatchet House, which is a subsidiary of Psychopathic Records. He talks about the upcoming mixtape, Let 'Em Bleed 5. He talks about his new record. He talks about his artists. He talks about how he stayed productive during this time. And shout out to my man, MC Snacks, because he helped me come up with the questions for the podcast, because MC Snacks is tight. Every week you can see him and me on YouTube on Hatchet Chat talking about a ICP produced or related album on Psychopathic Records. But this is the first time I've talked to an artist who's actually directly affiliated with Psychopathic Records. And DJ Clay, he's a really humble guy, a cool guy, told some good stories, talked about his childhood. And so thanks, Clay. It was awesome talking to you. This week's episode is brought to you, of course, as always, by the Patreon Larson. Shout out to the new ones, Mac, Kenny, and Every Show Joe. Shout out to the old ones, John, Colin, and Christina. If you sign up at patreon.com/MCLars, you will get my entire back catalog of Patreon songs that you haven't heard. You'll get my new song Droids about the 1985 ABC's Star Wars cartoon. My Fallen Order jam is dropping soon. Of course, I'm going to do songs about The Mandalorian, which I've done before, season 1 and season 2, everything. So I call that series the Lars Wars series. So check that out. And I really enjoy these podcasts because I feel like, you know, we get to communicate directly and I get to say hello. We're doing well. Our son is almost 7 months old. Quarantine is, you know, it's happening. It's all good. I'm getting a lot done. But I do miss touring. I do miss my West Coast fam. And yeah, so talking to DJ Clay was cool to know that like there are other artists who have been going through similar things and doing well. So this is my interview with DJ Clay on the MC Lars podcast. You're listening to the MC Lars podcast. We got DJ Clay.
Hey, yeah.
And we could go into the background of how you and Rude Boy linked and the Big Ballers party and touring with Shaggy. We don't need to get into all that now because the Juggalos know your history. I want to talk about your record, your hot sauce, your label, your work with Danny Diablo, all that stuff, Jason the Sin God, all that stuff, because you've been doing a lot of stuff. And we talked earlier today, but it's just dope to have you on the podcast. So what's up, man? How are you doing?
Good, man. Thanks for having me on the show. How you doing, man?
You know, we are surviving? Everyone's got an interesting story right now. Cause like how's everything with the quarantine stuff in Detroit?
Well, as of today, the day that we're doing this right now, here in Michigan, they just shut everything down again, basically, for 3 months, or 3 weeks. 3 weeks. It's going to turn into 3 months, It should, I don't know. This shit's crazy, but just like you said, you're surviving. I'm surviving too. I'm doing the same thing. I really don't go too, if since we ain't touring, right now, so the only places I really go is, the house or the studio. So I keep myself pretty sheltered, I guess, And when I have people in the studio, it's like somebody from my label, so they're all private sessions, and even if we have clients in here or something, we limit it, no more than 4 people in here, like, basically. So it's like, keep it pretty limited in here just to be safe.
Do you try to keep 6 feet away from people and keep them in the booth, or is that hard to do when you're working with them?
That's hard to do in the studio. I really don't mind that much. Just don't like fucking sneeze or cough on me or some shit, like.
Right.
I really don't mind the 6 foot rule. I see so many people they don't even, half the world don't even know that exists, or at least they act like it don't,
Yeah.
I had COVID.
For real?
Yeah, I had COVID in the end of July, and nobody knew it or would know it because I had nothing to talk about it, because I was just like this every day, like literally like fine, 100% good.
Wow, man.
I didn't even believe I had it. I didn't even believe I had the shit. I was like, there's no way, you know what I'm saying? But then my kids, they tested positive as well. So I was like, all right, well, maybe we got it. But the only thing is, everybody in my house was fine. You sound fucking stupid if you don't think this shit is real. It is real.
Did you have any symptoms?
I went and got tested. I was like, fuck it, I'll go get tested. Test came back negative. I was like, of course it is. You know what I'm saying? Sure. And then it was... was it about end of July. It was on a weekend. It was like on a Friday night, and I get fucking sick once a season anyways. Like, I know I'm gonna prepare for it ahead of time. I already know. I keep the NyQuil on deck, and it's like I can feel when it's coming out. When you feel that cold coming, like that first night, you're like, I kind of feel shitty behind my eyes, and like I can feel it coming on. Like, so like it was like that on a Friday night, and I ate some NyQuiled it up, and the next morning I woke up feeling great. Only sense of smell and taste was gone a little bit by Saturday. So by Sunday comes around, sense of taste and smell is really gone, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go to the doctor on Monday, get a Z-Pack or something, be on my way, just kick this cold's ass real quick and be straight. So while we're sitting in there, I was like, give me another, I told the doctor, give me another test, run me another one. He said, oh man, you're fine. You don't have no temperature. And I was like, you fucking get paid for the shit anyway. Fucking give me one, like every time you bust one of these packs open that you're about to jam up my nose, you get paid for it. So why are you arguing? So he gave me another test. And, after that, that was a Monday. Now, 2 days later here comes Wednesday. I get the phone call. Hey, you tested positive. I'm like, what? I can taste and smell again. So all that was already back within the 2 days, and no other symptoms. I had no fever, no shortness of breath, no cough. The sense of taste and smell was back already, by the time I got my results. And it only took 2 days to get the results, so I don't know. I'm one of those rare few, maybe I was blessed, you know what I'm saying? Because I know people are dying, but I also know, like, I had an uncle that recently died, right? Not from COVID. They chunked his death up to COVID. They made him another number. You know what I'm saying? My girl's dad, he died recently. He died as COVID. You know what I'm saying? He didn't die from COVID, though.
Wow.
It's like, but I'm not stupid either. I see what's going on. Like. That
must have been hard, man. How's your family, though? Are they okay?
Yeah, the whole family's good. Everybody's good. Yeah, I mean, it sucks when somebody in the family dies. You grieve, you go through all that shit. One of them was unexpected, like out of left field. You know what I'm saying? My uncle, was like out of left field, like what? Couldn't believe that shit. And it's like my girl's dad, like we knew that was coming because he was already kind of in like a hospice type of state, you know, for a little while. So we knew that was coming, but so that was a little bit easier to prepare for the family and everything. But still, you can never really prepare for it, you know. Like there's, even though you know it's coming, when it happens, it's still different, you know. So a few, you know, like it was like about 6 years ago now when I lost my ma. It was the same way. She was in like a hospice type state, and even though I knew it was like any day type shit, it was and you know, it definitely did make it easier. I mean, knowing it was coming because you prepare yourself beforehand. But when it actually happens, it's like I said, there's really no preparing for that type of shit, you know, as much as you try to, you know. But you know, but yeah, I'm fucking Superman here. I kick COVID's ass. COVID can suck it slow, you know.
And your whole family kicked COVID's ass, it sounds like.
Yeah, my fucking son was doing flips and cartwheels. Wasn't sick.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So, you know, we did the responsible thing though. You know, we stayed in the house for 14 days, quarantined as fuck. You know, because you know, in the back of my head, I'm like, well, you know, what if this shit really is real? We do got it. It's contagious. I don't want to contaminate anybody, you know, that might not be able to handle it. Our body immune system can't handle it, and they fucking go die. Like that would suck, you know. So we did the right thing, and then after that time passed, you know, we all got cleared, checked again, and I guess we're asymptomatic.
You're probably not as scared about catching it, right?
Not at all. I've done a couple shows and like been around a lot of people to where it's, you know, it's weird because the capacity is only like 50% here in Michigan. Like I did, and I did a Devil's Night show, which ended up selling out at only the 50% capacity. When I hit stage, it looked like there was a lot more than 50% of the people in there, though. So, and I personally didn't give a fuck. I was like, hell yeah, the bigger the crowd, the better. Let's do it, you know. And it was smacking, and it got shut down, not because of capacity or nothing like that. There was a fight right as the cops were walking out, like they were gonna let the show go on after the fight, after they learned that. They learned that, you know, that the people that were fighting have already been kicked out and everything. It's already been taken care of by security by the time the cops got there. You know, they were about to let the show go on. I was on stage as this was happening. I didn't learn none of this till after the fact. You know, I was on stage as it was happening. Then I get the word from, you know, the promoter. He's like, yo, we got to shut it down. You know, fuck, they're calling the EMS. And then I'm like, why? And then he points over and there's some bitch on the ground fucking ODing from heroin. Like,
wow.
Go do that fucking shit in your car.
Do you consider yourself more of a rapper, a DJ, more of a producer? Because you do all three, and like I don't know a lot of people who do all three.
You know, that's a great question. I ask myself that shit every day. I don't know. You know, some people would say I'm a better DJ than a rapper. Some people say I'm a better rapper than a DJ. Some people just say I'm a better producer. I consider myself just a great entertainer. It's like kind of like narrowing it down to that.
Yeah.
Like I'm just a great entertainer all the way around. I like being an entertainer. I like entertaining people no matter what it's through. You know what I'm saying? If it's through my beats, you know, I love producing though. I love producing for people, like just slapping them with a banger and just seeing them make it come alive with their raps, you know, other artists and shit. And then, you know, but I love rapping, and you know, it all came hand in hand. Like they all kind of came at the same time when I first started getting into this shit. You know, the turntables came first, and then there's break beats, and I'm like, oh fuck, I can rap over these myself, you know. And I'm rapping, as you know, I'm writing, you know, and then you know, a little bit later when I was able to afford like any type of gear to make, and I'm like, well, I could also make these beats too, probably. And I start doing it, and fucking, I learned that I actually am good at it, so it just continued on from there.
And something I love about the Over the Fear of your new record, the hooks, you sing, and that's cool, man. You're fearless with the singing. Like, have you always been a singer too?
No, I'm not a singer by far. I will be able to get into the groove, you know. Like I'll be able to get into that pocket for sure, you know. But some of those vocals were backed by one of my other artists that's on the label, Russell Hood, you know, and he can fucking rap too, you know what I'm saying? Like he's great, you know. So I would sometimes on not every one of the songs, but you know, he has credit in the book on the songs. If you like got the hard copy, then you know you'll see the credit. But the ones that he did, like he would go in, I'd have him back me, and then in the mix I'd predominantly make it me and have him back me, you know what I'm saying? So I'd get into the pocket though, and I for some of the songs that he was backing me on, I'd credit him to actually put me in that pocket, because I would hear him and I'd be like, okay, this is what I'm about to sound like. So I would go in there and kind of like mock him with the singing. But I'm not a singer by far. I would never go solo out on some singing, like just like let me hit that solo real quick. Nah, I'm not gonna do that singing. But definitely, yeah. But yeah, it's the way I wrote the hooks though. It's cool you picked up on it, because it's like I was rapping my ass off on all these songs. It was a real hungry record, you know? Yeah. And that's the way the record was supposed to sound. You know, kind of angry, real hard, nothing somber or slow, nothing that's going to make you fucking cry, really. There's one song towards the end of the record called Fade Away. That's like my tour song, you know what I'm saying? I don't know how it affects people, but like that's the only song that kind of almost makes me cry, because I'm really I wrote that shit about my life, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, being away from my kids for a long time, shit like that, you know, and on the road and stuff, and you know, that's basically like my tour song. But that's probably as soft as it gets. But like, I'm rapping my ass off. So the hooks, I wanted them big, you know, so I made sure that they were big. If I had to bring somebody in to sing with me, I was gonna do it, or somebody in, you know. And the only people that was on this record that I had is people that was my artists that are on my label, you know what I'm saying? I have Bales, you know what I'm saying? I have Jason the Sin God, we got Russell Hood, and we just picked up a new artist that I can't mention until the beginning of the year.
Armed Robbery Entertainment has become another income source. You don't have to be on the road to make money, which must be a tight arm of your career.
It's it's cool, yeah. It just, you know, I like, for example, Jason the Sin God, you know what I'm saying? This kid is, he's amazing, you know what I'm saying? And, like, I love producing for him, you know, like I'll make some beats with him in mind, you know, and then I'll send them over to him, or he might be in the studio while we build it, you know what I'm saying? Because we're working on his debut, like, studio album right now, you know, his first actual studio album, big album, and I'm producing the majority of it. You know, I'm producing the whole album, but I'm not necessarily making every beat, you know, because there's a couple other real dope producers out there that we want to work with, and we're gonna use, you know, and but it's like, man, yeah, just working with him and shit. Like, I like doing that part of it and seeing other people get that shine now. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I've got my time to shine always, and I can always keep that going and do it. But yeah, it definitely keeps me. You know, I'll tell you what, working with all my artists, like, especially right now during COVID, no touring, it definitely keeps me on my toes versus just sitting at the crib playing fucking Xbox or something. You know, I'm like,
yeah, man. Well, that's the thing about the independent hustle, right? You have to believe in yourself, and you have to surround yourself with people who get your drive and believe in you too. And that is a magic energy. And I think that's important, right?
It's super important, man. Yeah. I mean, you couldn't be more right. It's and it's crazy because all of us here at AR Entertainment, we have literally the same dream. You know what I'm saying? We have the same goal, even though some artists were signed sooner, some were signed later. We're all from different parts of the fucking country, basically. You know what I'm saying? A couple of us are from Detroit here. Jason's from Alabama.
Oh, wow.
The new cat, what I can say, the new cat that we're signing, he's from Cleveland, you know, and it's like, you know, people are from different areas and shit, but man, it's like, yeah, all that difference, you know, between us, like from how we were raised and everything, we all have the same goal and the same dream to make make this AR shit really flourish and be what everybody needs right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, the underground game is weird right now, man. I never thought it'd be like that, because the underground, we were usually all the ones. When I say we, I mean everybody that's in the underground right now. Like, we were the ones that always had it together. Like, oh, look at the mainstream falling off. You know what I'm saying? All this mainstream bullshit crap on the radio. Right. Now, there's a bunch of weird, crazy shit going on within the other underground. It's to where you're like, what? So we are here to just go ahead and just save all that. You know, like, we want people to be able to depend and look at us and know that, you know, that this is a family over here. We are the saviors of this shit.
Well, then the way, that's a really good way to put it, because the way to make the underground great is by putting a high level of quality, right? Having a high bar of quality, not putting out trash, making sure that, like, everything's curated well, produced well, and having a high bar quality. And I feel like in all the like Let 'Em Bleed and Book of Wicked stuff and all the stuff you've done and your solo stuff, that's what you bring to the table.
Always quality over quantity for me. Like, fuck a 22 track album if it's gonna sound like, like you not even if it's more than mediocre, like it has to be great. Quality is one of the things I take pride in, like for real. Like when people come to the studio, because here at our studios, at the Vault Studios, people can also rent studio time here. You know what I'm saying? They can. We have engineers on deck. 24 hours a day. It's 24 hours. People can book me if I'm available. You know what I'm saying, to engineer them. Book any of our other engineers that I stand behind 100%. I wouldn't have these guys here if I didn't stand behind them. And the whole thing is quality. That's why we, all our clients, they won't go nowhere else now. Because they're like, shit, we know that we're good when we go there. Like we're going there. It's quality, and they're like, what the fuck, man? Like everything sounds like you said. Like it's dope that you noticed that, because I wouldn't let it even get released or go out if it didn't hit to, I guess, whatever my standard is, which is like just the best type of quality there is. Like that's all you're gonna get. I mean, me and Jason, we just did some shit that is crazy. We just did a 15 track mixtape in 72 hours.
Wow.
We stayed in the studio for 72 hours and knocked it out. And he's such a beast. He fucking just murdered it. As for the rapper aspect, he murdered it, and then me on the boards, I killed it. It's like all these songs, man. You're gonna think that we spent 6 months recording this mixtape. It's so fucking dope, and the quality's gonna be so. It's there. I'm not even done mixing it yet all the way. You know what I'm saying? It's on its final mixes. But and the name of that mixtape, I'll just go ahead and plug that right now. It's The Process 4, which is Jason's mixtape series, but hosted by me. Like I put them out. We put them out. AR puts them out. I host them, and that's Jason's mixtape series, and it's his 4th installment. I hosted number 2, 3, and now this is 4. And I mean, like I said, we were knocking them out left and right. I mean, we were pumping like 5 songs or more a day, depending on how we did it, and we didn't lose no quality because he's a quality rapper and I'm a fucking quality ass producer. You know what I'm saying? It's like, but it's very important. Yeah, man. I used to listen to demos. In Psychopathic Records, in one of their offices, I found a box full of demos like that people would send in, and I was like, yo, can I go through these? It's like when I was first new, it's like they were like, yeah, fucking go ahead. You know what I'm saying? That's most people send in and shit. So I went through all of them, and guess what? When I put your shit in, when that shit sounded like shit off top, it got probably like 3 seconds of my time. Like maybe 5. But if I heard some shit that off jump sounded quality, you're getting my time. I was listening, and then you might have even got a phone call or got played on the W Fuck Off Radio when me and Shaggy had that show together on W Fuck Off Radio. Like when we would find somebody nice out the demo thing, like we'd give them some shine on the radio, So it's
that's
like, but that's what I listen for, man. And I listen for quality and dope beats. That's what hits my ears first when I listen to demos. The beat catches me first, and then I'll go back and listen. I'll listen to what the rapper's saying too.
Yeah,
that's just the order my ears hear it and my brain takes it for some reason. I don't know.
Well, it's like they say, the medium is the message. Like with hip hop, style and flavor, all that stuff is like central, because if it's weak, you could be so lyrical, but if it's like, you know what I mean? It's got to have. I always like stuff that's maybe poppy in a way or produced in a way where it catches your ear, and then you're going to hear what's their message, and then if they've got a cool message, that's when I become a fan, right?
Some people get away with just rapping about nothing, and it sounds cool. Sometimes that's fun. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like every now and then, you need music like that. You don't need to listen to every single song somebody just preaching to you or trying to teach you something. Like sometimes it's fun just to do a song that makes absolutely no sense but sounds dope,
right.
That's just, you need that sometimes. But for the most part, man, yeah, you got to be saying some dope shit to catch my ear, really. It's how I always been. I'm a fucking DJ, so it's like you that's what almost every DJ listens to. Like, this bitch about to rock a crowd? Yeah, okay, it's getting fucked with then.
So speaking of being in the studio, this is cool, like getting this behind the scenes vision. What What if Joe and Joey taught you being in the studio that like you've taken to work with your other artists as they kind of mentored you?
There's a lot of studio magic that I won't let out, you know what I'm saying, for what we did during ICP sessions. But one thing that they taught me that can kind of sum it up is the professionalism of what goes into making like mixtape's a little bit different, but what goes into making like a studio album. You know what I'm saying? You sit there for, one song could take a week, depending on, how much post-production you're doing, shit like that. It's like, but that's that quality. If you listen to ICP, it's all quality, you know what I'm saying? And it shows, like, you can hear it in the fucking, as soon as and then, it's, yes, it goes back to that quality thing that we're talking about. But yeah, it was the professional. What I learned from them mainly, without letting any of the magic out or anything like that, is the professionalism. You know what I'm saying? You have a steady studio squad, yourselves. You put yourselves on a nice schedule, a regular schedule. You treat that shit like it's a job, only it's not. So it makes it a lot funner. It's like it's not. You ain't going to work under some asshole boss. That's gonna be fucking. You got to watch your back so you don't get yelled at or no shit. It's like you're having fun. You're literally doing what you love. But if you go in there and put the hours in, you literally set up a schedule. And you execute it like that. You stick to that schedule, and that's one of the main things that I took away from that as far as making like studio albums, and that's what shit. If anybody's, whoever's listening right now, and if you haven't recorded a studio album yet and you're thinking about it, you should probably take that advice,
Yeah, patience, right? The fact that your patience will be rewarded if you do it right.
Yes. A lot of people want to get it done quick, and then they want it emailed to them in 2 days. Like, okay, like you don't even want to give it time for post production. Like you don't want to give it time to add all the sweet shit. Like you just, even if you're a dope rapper, it's like you just laid down some dope ass tracks that you can make fucking even more massive if you just do some extra post production. Like that's what studios are for, man.
Yeah.
Like we don't put all this money in the studios just to go in there and fucking do a one take track and fucking you're out. Like it, that's what a karaoke machine's for or something.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like fucking hundreds of thousands of dollars are spent on studios and studio equipment and shit. It's like that's for a reason, man. That's for that quality, and that's so that way, like me, like talking as an engineer or a producer can go in here and do some ill shit with the track.
You have your new hot sauce, and it's named after your record. Let's talk about that and what inspired you to do that flavor.
Yeah. Well, to do that flavor, it was. This hot sauce has been in the works. It's been in the works for about a year now. It would have been out sooner, but COVID hit, fucked a lot of shit up. You know what I'm saying? The company that their whole kitchen had to shut down and stuff. It's a company out of California called Hella Hot Sauce that's actually making and bottling this stuff for me out of a recipe that I have. I gave them. We sat down and talked. But what they did was they made the recipe better. You know what I'm saying? They did what they do best as a hot sauce company and added the little ingredients that I might not have thought of, It made it really come to life, So, because like this ain't no novelty hot sauce. This shit is fucking delicious. I'm gonna have a more novelty one coming out. We're already talking about it, and it's gonna be called Let 'Em Bleed, and it's gonna be like not even fun type of hot. Like I'm gonna have the Let 'Em Bleed challenge and everything. You know what I'm saying? Like for real. Like it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be dope. Shit's gonna be blood red. That's already all in talks. Cause this Overfear hot sauce is doing real good right now. And the reason why I named it that is like cause this slogan popped in my head. Like a lot of people are scared of hot sauce. Well, this is only habanero hot, which is just a step up above jalapeno. So it's like it ain't nothing that anybody should be afraid of. So it's like that's why the slogan is like don't fear the sauce, overcome it. That's the slogan on it. So, and I mean, you can slap it. I made it as a wing sauce, but the reason why though I named it is it just went hand in hand with the record, like the way the sauce tastes is like how the record felt. Like the shit's hot, son. You know what I'm saying? Like the shit's hot, son. Like so it just made sense,
There's a poetry term. Emily Dickinson uses this a lot. Synesthesia. It's when senses connect. So what you hear is like what you taste. What you see is like what you feel. So like you were able to do synesthesia on the album and turn it into a sauce. That's pretty tight.
That's fucking awesome. I've never known about that. Like I never heard that, you know, and our synesthesia.
Yeah.
It's my first time hearing that word. And so it's crazy that you say that. That's fucking awesome, man. Yeah.
That's right.
That's what I'm saying. It's like it was meant to happen, I guess. You know, it was meant to happen. And, you know, like if stores wanted to pick it up. So everybody listening, if you want to get it in your local stores, holler at them. And if they want that shit, fucking blow up my social media and we will get it in your fucking store. You know, we will. You know, vegans ain't got to worry about it. They can fucking enjoy it as well, you know. Slap it on some fucking tofu or soy burger. That shit is slap, for real.
Is it hotter than sriracha? I'm assuming it is.
A little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
Not by much though. It's definitely a lot. See, what makes up for it though, and kind of takes your mind off of that little bit of, you know, that hotness that you catch, is the actual flavor of it. So the actual flavor is, so it's Overfear, sweet citrus habanero is what it is. That's the flavor. So the sweetness that you're tasting is maple. You know what I'm saying? It's it's organic maple. You know, and the citrus is like a lemon and an orange blend that's used, like fresh squeeze. All this shit, like I said, is organic as hell. Like he sent me like videos of him making it and shit. And I was like, damn, that's awesome. Like that's great. You know, like no substitutes, no bullshit. You know, and then, you know, habanero, that speaks for itself. That basically lets you know the heat of it. Basically, it's habanero hot. You know, so but the sweetness is that flavor, that citrus and that sweetness together, like that takes that hot away. It makes you forget about it, at least. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't say it takes it away, but makes you forget about it. Because you're like, you slap it on, like, say some tortilla chips or something. Like, you slap it on that, and then you're eating it, and you're like, damn, this shit is good. Then you'll be like, oh, shit, but I'm kind of on fire a little bit. Like, it's a little hot, though, but fuck. Here, pour that shit on. Give me another chip.
Where did you grow up? Like, so I just want a little bit of your story. I know we know about your origin into psychopathic, but I just want to talk about your life as a kid, man, and, like, what brought you to music?
You're asking all the best questions, man. What a great interview. Good job, dude. Because, you know, most questions are pretty fucking generic, you know, and they just want to know about, you know, strictly music. And I mean, you covered that and shit too, but you know, it's like, what a good question. So it's like, I had a, I guess what you would call a pretty normal childhood. It was crazy though. I mean, I was born in fucking 84, so late 80s is when I started getting my memory, you know what I'm saying, what I could remember back to and shit. And like, I mean, there's a lot of crazy shit. Born and raised in Southwest Detroit, you know, like born and raised in Southwest Detroit, still in Southwest Detroit, you know what I'm saying? Own a house in Southwest Detroit still right now. And we, all my whole family is born and raised Southwest Detroit, you know. In crazy coincidence, born and raised on Military Street.
Oh, really?
So when I was older, before I discovered when I discovered ICP, when I was younger, you know what I'm saying, I heard that song, like, shit, they're rapping about my street. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the street my dad and my uncles and aunts and my grandma and grandpa, they owned a house there on Military Street in Delray, on the Delray side across the tracks. And it just recently got all flattened because that new bridge project's coming in, that Gordie Howe Bridge over here. So Delray's like just all flat ground right now. It's crazy looking like these days, you know. But yeah, born and raised right over there, you know. That's where I came. And then shortly after that, we moved just probably like a mile away down the road. Right off of 4th Street. We call it Cemetery Side. It's right by 4th Street in Woodmere, right by Woodmere Cemetery. So I was, you know, raised basically across the street from a cemetery, you know. And you know, that always is crazy to me too, because it's like, damn, man, like I've traveled far. I've done a lot of shit just to end up right back here at the end. When I die, I'm gonna end up right back here at this fucking cemetery. No matter how far I go, or what I wake up and see every day, I'm gonna end up right back here. Because chances are, if I do, that's where I'm gonna be buried at, you know, or cremated, whatever I decide on when I get fucking older and start thinking about death. But yeah, so yeah, pretty normal, pretty crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like the '80s, there's a lot of, you know what I'm saying, like. There's a lot of dope dealing and crack and shit like that, but it's very vague to me, like that whole thing, because I was real young. I was probably like only like 5 years old, No, I'm not saying like my family was crackheads. I'm just saying that shit was around me. You know what I'm saying? I was like, that was the thing going on. Like I remember my parents' friends like smoking crack, like stepping out, smoking crack, sneaking it, like crazy shit like that. And that's one of my like earliest memories. My mom was originally from Detroit here. My dad, Detroit. We're all just born, raised Detroit, whole family basically. And my mom, man, I found out a bunch of crazy shit about my mom right before she passed. Like her dad, my grandpa, which I never knew because he died early. Well, supposedly, I found out he was tied into a lot of that Hoffa shit that was going on.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and so he died because he like closed casket style. Fucking, he didn't die. He got whacked. You know, and I didn't find none of this shit out until probably about just like maybe 8 years ago in my life. You know what I'm saying? When I heard all this news, I was like, what? Now I gotta go. I'm about to pay some money to see the real history about my fucking family. This shit's interesting now. I thought it was just some kind of some regular bland shit. You know what I'm saying? You know, like my mom's dad, like I said, which I never knew. My grandpa, he had bread. Like he was papered up, and like he had a yacht down in the Caribbean. So they went down to the Caribbean. My mom, her brother, her mom, her dad. They went down to the Caribbean, and that was also their business. It was a big ass yacht to where they would take like whoever would come down there, like celebrities, whatever. They would rent it out and shit. And you know, my mom would tell me that her and her brother would work for them. They'd be like, you know, like the servers or whatever. Like it was a big ass yacht. Like fucking, they'd take people would go out there and stay on that yacht for like a weekend or a week, you know. And she told me about memories of like, you know, scuba diving and all that shit down in the Caribbean. Many years later, you know, I mean, they came back to Detroit. Many years later, when I'm back to this crazy shit where my grandpa got whacked or whatever, I find out that she told me that she used to write back to her friends when they went to the Caribbean. She used to write letters to her friends back here in Detroit all the time, you know what I'm saying, say how everything was going, you know, just writing letters. And 5 years before my mom passed, my grandma passed. And before she passed, she gave my mom a box full of letters, which were those letters, and told her they never made it to Detroit. And this is why. Basically, they went down to the Caribbean, like, he was avoiding getting fucking his head blown off.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so that's what I learned all later in my life. I'm like, this shit's crazy interesting. Like, sounds like something out of a fucking movie.
That's wild.
And I didn't know my mom's side of the family at all. Like, I didn't know my mom's side of the family at all. Besides my grandma, her mother, that was it. You know, like,
wow.
Like the majority of my family is all on my dad's side. It's it's big ass family, you know. And yeah, so that was crazy learning many years later, you know, and definitely intrigued the fuck out of me. Like, I want to go. Like, I wonder if Ancestry.com could pull that type of shit up, you know?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Because there's another theory that their family had that my grandma had told my mom was,
wow.
We don't believe your dad's really dead. He faked his death. That wasn't his body. Because when the coroner took him and when he was in there, nobody was allowed to go identify the body, including my mom's ma, including his wife. You know what I'm saying? Like, only person was, this is the way it was explained to me from my mom.
Yeah,
she said the only person,
sure.
she said she remembers this when she was a kid.
My mom's really
the only
into
person that was able to identify the body was her aunt. And her aunt was, you know, tied into her dad, like was kind of whatever he had going on with it. You know what I'm saying? I see all these old pictures. Yeah. He was fucking balling. I'm like, God damn, I wish I had some of this money. He don't, you know, like, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Right. Like, shit, if he wouldn't have got whacked, I'd have grew up into some money or something. Who knows? But that definitely didn't happen, you know, because, I mean, I got old pictures of him. He owned a fucking airplane. He had his own plane. He owned a fucking yacht. They were in the Playboy Club. Like, they were fucking, like, celebrities. I got cut out pictures. He was tied into, man, this is like some old fucking 70s shit or 60s shit. He got pictures of him, my grandma, a couple of like the Dallas Cowboys that were at the time, and like a couple models in a newspaper. It's a newspaper cutout that I still have, you know, and it's them, and they're posing with these fucking tall ass ski things. You know what I'm saying? They if you look them up, you can Google them. They're called, I believe they were called the Walk on Water skis. They were a huge flop, but he was like a big part of the. I don't know if he was the big part of like creating or just the promoting. You know what I'm saying? But what he was. But I just know I got the newspaper cutouts, and they were also tied into the first. I believe it was the first car that fucking was able to be driven off of land into water.
That's what's up.
Like there's old news clips. It's like my ma and her little brother, their kids, like sitting in the back seat. They the news wanted the family thing, so it was my grandma, my grandpa, and then my mom and her brother, in that car, and in these news clips driving right off the fucking dock into the water, and fucking these little propellers or motor starts up, and they're fucking
old amphibious cars, right? I've heard about that.
I think it was what it was called, something. It had the word amphibi something in it. It was like called like the amphibian or something like that. Yeah, I believe that's what it was.
That's tight.
And I'm like, wow, like that's crazy. So in the music history we're talking about, not much music in my family besides one of my uncles. He's an amazing drummer. Like he's a fucking monster, And I remember going down in my grandma's basement on Military Street when I was a fucking kid. Like everybody was smoking weed down there and shit. It was like it looked like the way I remember it right now, it was like walking into the shelter at St. Andrew's Hall downstairs. It's like, you know what I'm saying? But everybody's smoking weed. It looked like a little venue down there. Like, he had his whole band in there and shit. I remember walking down there, and I'd sneak down there until, like, one of my other uncles or their boys would catch me and be like, hey, man, get your little ass upstairs, Because there was a lot of weed smoke or something like that, So, that was the only dude that was, like, really musically inclined in my family. It was my dad's brother, and, then, I don't know. I got into music when I discovered a crate of records that my mom and dad had, and they had I was very young. Like I had to been like still around that same age, 7 years old, something like that. And I remember, I don't think I ever told this story in a fucking interview. This is cool. I remember, they had like a floor model record player / 8-track player / I think radio as well, and they had one crate of records, and the first records that I've ever heard, the first like music that I remember was Thriller, Michael Jackson's Thriller. They had that on 12-inch. They had 45. It was a 45 of the Beach Boys, Surfing USA. It was just the single, And, it was a 45 of the Beatles, Love Me Do. I know that song by heart to this day. I haven't fucking listened to it, or I know it by heart to this day because when I was a kid, And Green Onions. I don't remember if Green Onions was the name of the band or if that was the name of the song. But I remember that was like my jam. Like I didn't give a fuck what it said on it. I just knew the color of the record and I put it on there, that was my shit. And I remember setting up, it's crazy because like here I am doing it for real in real life in front of real audiences, but I remember setting up like stuffed animals as my fake band, and I was the lead singer with a toy guitar, putting on like shows in the living room for like my mom and dad and like their 3 friends that were chilling with them or something, like
that's tight.
That shit was crazy. Like I remember that. Wow, dang. I'm glad you asked that question because I wouldn't have remembered that. It was so long ago. I was little as fuck. So that's kind of like my musical background, basically. That's like my musical background, like my family, shit like that,
Michael Jackson, the Beach Boys, and the Beatles are all artists whose main elements were like their use of melody and their really strong, coherent understanding of rhythm.
Oh, shit. And there was this record, one more record there was that inspired me like musically when I was a kid. Same time, whatever. I don't know the name of the band, or I remember the name of the album, though. It was called Attack of the Guitars. The cover on it was fucking crazy. It was like hand drawn. It was like these guitars that were like fucking Godzilla sized, like stepping all over a city or a neighborhood. And man, I wish, fuck. I'm gonna have to look that album up on fucking like eBay or something. It was called Attack of the Guitars. That shit had some dope ass guitar work on it, and it was all like instrumentals too. I don't remember no it was that type of music. I don't remember no lyrics being on that shit. And I'm like, to this day, there was some shit I remember to this day that was so dope that I want to sample, but I just I don't have that record no more. I don't know what happened to it.
Yeah.
And I guess I could just fucking, like I said, look on eBay, I guess now. I just never thought of it.
That's cool. Clay, what was your family's like cultural background, if you want to talk about it?
I'm Mexican and white. My mom was white, my dad's Mexican. But I grew up Mexican. It's like Mexican as fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like nothing but the Mexican household family. Like the only person that was white was my mom, you know, because like I said, I didn't know nobody in my mom's family. They all lived far. Like some people lived in Canada. I didn't know who the fuck they were. Some people lived in Florida. Never seen them, you know.
Yeah.
But my mom would just tell me the stories here and there. But, it was all Hispanic. You know, we grew up Hispanic, like just like kind of traditional, you know, Mexican family. Only I never spoke Spanish as much as, you know, real Mexican family speak Spanish, you know, like my family spoke it because my grandma would speak it all the time and my fucking dad would speak it, only he never spoke it to me. So I'm like, God damn you, you know what I'm saying? Why didn't you fucking speak that shit to me? I would know it fluently right now, you know, like shit.
Yeah.
When my grandma I remember being young, my grandma speaking it to me, I understood the shit fluently. I can still, I can still speak it and understand it, but I wouldn't call myself fluent at all, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, but we grew up as a, you know, that whole side of the family was my family, you know, and that was it. And it's a big family. You know, there's, my dad has 4 brothers, 1 sister, you know, and then plus my dad. So it was a pretty big family, you know, and so we grew up like that, you know, pretty traditional. Everybody was always close, you know, everybody still lives pretty close together. Like, not too far. We all still see each other, you know, and shit like that. But pretty traditional, like, style. But they taught me the dope game. and they introduced me to a lot of rock and roll music and a lot of rap because, like, they were back, you know, they were doing the thing in the 90s. Like, they were getting it. Couple of my uncles were, you know, they haven't done it in many years now. You know what I'm saying? They're a couple of the lucky ones that got out of the game easy and scot free, and I'm glad, you know, because shit can always go crazy in that game. But yeah, they really were doing some wild shit. Like a couple of uncles were really balling, you know, and that's where I got one of my first fucking big stereo systems was from one of my uncles, and you know, like that was a hookup to me. That was a real hookup because it was like a big ass Kenwood, like, because my mom and dad couldn't afford a fucking Kenwood system, and I had like the biggest speakers on the block. I'd set them bitches up in my window, and you know what I'm saying, just like I would entertain the street that we ended up living on is called Distal. It was a small street right there in Southwest by the cemetery, and when I first got my turntables, is around the time my uncle gave me that system. And, I had the system first for a little while, you know, and I would just bump music. I would just bump, you know, whatever mixtapes, like local DJs and shit like that. And just kind of entertain the block. I'd kind of be DJing, but off a tape deck, you know? So like that shit would rock. It was, like I said, it wasn't a huge block. So it's like if people were out there with the basketball hoops and they were hooping, I had my speakers in the window and shit, and I had them. I had everybody entertained for sure. When the turntables came in play, it was like I was 13 years old when I got my first pair of turntables. So when those came into play, now I was really DJing. I'd set the speakers up and like I'd have my whole little hood right there like rocking, you know. And it's crazy because I watched the evolution of hip hop, that show that's on Netflix. Have you ever seen it?
Yeah. Right, yeah.
Did you see the one where they're covering Luke, Uncle Luke and shit like that? Yo, that one in 2 Live Crew, Luke was doing the same shit I was doing. I didn't know that.
Right.
I was like, what the fuck? I was like, yo, that's the shit he was doing it right there in his front yard. The only difference is I wasn't doing it in my front yard. People would be there in the front yard. They'd be more in the street because there would always be a basketball game going on. And there'd be like chicks hanging out, you know what I'm saying? But everybody's like anywhere, you know, from older like gangbangers to younger kids like I was when I was about, like I said, I was 13 at the time, and I would do it out of my room though. Like I said, I'd set the speakers up in my window. My window was facing the street, you know, in my bedroom window, and I would just DJ inside the house. I was like, I ain't trying to lug that shit in and out, you know what I'm saying? I never thought about it, but when I seen that shit about Luke and how he did it, I was like, yo, that's the shit I was doing. I gained a lot of love for him. I always respected him. I always loved him too. But after that episode, I was like, okay, that's crazy. He was doing it because I was doing the same shit. It was fun, man. You know, I just loved entertaining people. Like, I didn't care about being out there playing basketball or nothing per se. Like, but I liked being in there knowing that I had that bitch rocking. You know?
Tight.
But at the same time, it was all practice for me. You know, it was just all practice for me, you know, and then for them, it was entertainment, you know.
Man, we're getting some gems, some DJ Clay history.
You're asking the right questions. That's why, though. You're asking, some great questions, man.
Thanks, man, because we know your past. So what's next?
Well, what I'm the most excited about right now is everything that we have coming up. And, yeah, I can speak on it. Bales, you know what I'm saying? He's the first artist we signed to AR Entertainment. He's a fucking monster. He's a beast. He has a new mixtape dropping.
That's tight.
Yes. And this is the first that anybody's heard of it. This is right here. I'm dropping it first. Now I got to go on social media after this and let everybody else know too. But no, yeah, he has a mixtape dropping. And it's called Unreasonable Drought.
That's tight.
You know what I'm saying? Kind of like a homage to, that the Jay-Z album, Reasonable Drought. But it's an unreasonable drought because in the streets right now, there ain't that much work. Shit's crazy. Shit's unreasonable. So... And that's the truth, you know. He really lives that life, you know. He's about that life, and he's a monster on the mic, you know. He's a fucking beast, you know. So that's coming out. The release date is not exactly set, but it's coming soon, and it's coming very soon. Like, just stay posted to my social media, and you'll see it. You know what I'm saying? Stay posted to Bale's social media, and you'll hear it. You'll know when it's coming out. But it's a fucking slapper. Like, this mixtape, it's hosted by me as well. And we have The Process 4 by Jason, the Sin God, coming out. That is dropping January. So you can expect that very soon. You know, like, that's coming real soon.
I love the Go Berserk song that Jason and Bales did together, right? Bales is on that track, right?
Yeah, that's Jason featuring Bales. That's murdered tight. That shit. Yeah, I did that beat, and man, I was like that beat right there, man. I've been doing I've been experimenting with bass and doing some wild shit. Like, that one right there, that shit'll give the shittiest fucking phone. It'll make it sound like you got a subwoofer in that bitch, you know? Like, that bitch rumbles. I'm real excited about The Process 4. I'm real excited about Unreasonable Drought, Bales, Jason and Sin God. Right now, what I have is the Hot Sauce and my record, you know what I'm saying? Over the Fear Of is out, and then the Over Fear the Hot Sauce is out too right now. Like, everything, you know, from our merch line that we got going on. You know, my partner that owns the record label with me, you know what I'm saying? He's the CEO of the record label. I'm excited as fuck about his clothing line. Yeah, he is coming out. It's called El Jefe, you know, and there's El Jefe merch up on our web store right now, and the web store is 211merch.com. It's just 211merch.com, and there's, you know, you'll find everybody's shit on there. Bell's shit, like his records, his old mixtapes, my shit, Jason's shit, Russell Hood's shit. You'll find the El Jefe clothing line on there. Like, you know, there's a lot of cool shit, man, and I'm excited about all that. I mean, that's a lot of stuff to look forward to. Not to mention, I'm just starting production on my next solo record.
Ooh.
And that it's a trilogy. So if anybody's ever noticed, the title of my record is Over the Fear Of, and you see the 3 periods after Over the Fear Of ... There's a continuance to that. This next record is the second installment of the trilogy. So that's going to fill in the second blank. And the title of that's going to be title ... I ain't releasing the title of that right now. But it's one of the dopest ideas I've ever fucking had. I know that. I'm not talking about just the trilogy. I'm talking about the way that this next record is gonna be built. People are gonna be like, holy shit, you know, like, it's crazy. But then after that will be the third one, and then that's it for me. That's all I'm doing as far as solo albums. Like, unless it's by, like, very popular demand. But one thing I'm never going to stop doing is these mixtapes. I am doing a Let 'Em Bleed 5.
Okay. Yeah. That's right.
I really wanted that out this year. Shit didn't work out like that because this year just got fucked, in a lot of different ways, But so I would expect that for sure sometime probably next year. I would like to shoot for the summer, but that's also when I want to release the next record as well. So it's all about timing for that. So I'm excited about all this. I mean, I got my plate full.
Yeah.
And then, fuck, man, if they start letting us tour again, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm really looking forward to that, man. Like, fuck, that's my drug. That's my drug right there. That, like you were talking about earlier, like, what do they give you? You know what I'm saying? And that heroin addict, you know what I'm saying, or that stab you with that adrenaline, it's like that adrenaline that you get on stage, there's no high like it, there's nothing like that high, and you don't have to sniff it or smoke it to get that shit. all you gotta do is get up there and rock that bitch, and then fuck, man, it's hard to go to sleep for the next 8 hours after that.
Right. Yeah, I know. And especially with going back to what we were talking about earlier, having a crew of friends around you who believe in you, who love you, who got your back, and you're in it together as a team. It's like there's nothing like that, man. Unstoppable.
Yeah, we even if people aren't in the same state as me right now, we all move like we move militant as fuck. We're tight knit over here. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, we're here to save this underground shit.
Yeah, I think it's so cool that you're able to connect all these things, stay creative during this lockdown. Appreciate you being on the show, man. And I one of your songs I really like that I was listening to today is called "Don't Quote Me." I thought maybe we could end with that. We'll drop that at the end, if that's cool with you.
Yeah, drop it. Yeah, fuck yeah. That shit's dope. That was a speak my mind, angry type of track. Like I said, that whole record, just the title itself, Over Fear, is just like, it meant a lot to me. It's kind of universal for maybe the listener. For that title, they could take it how they want. You know what I'm saying? It's basically get over the fear of whatever the fuck you're scared of doing, because everybody's demanded, like the fans have been demanding a solo record for me for the longest, ever since like the second Let 'Em Bleed mixtape that I put out, years ago. And it's been, everybody's always, fans have always commented, when you gonna do that solo record? When, then truth is, I was scared to do that. I didn't want it to not be perfect, so I didn't want it to be a failure through my eyes or any crazy shit like that. So I finally got over that fucking fear to make this, and then I was like, you know what, if I'm gonna do it, I'm not just gonna do a record, I'm gonna do this trilogy. So the next title, when you hear it's gonna make even more sense.
That's tight.
Like after Over Fear, you know what I'm saying? So yeah,
that's awesome, Clay. I appreciate your time. And is there anything else you want to say before we sign off?
I said it all, man. I already did my plugs. I did everything. But I do want to thank you for having me on your podcast, bro. Thanks a lot, you know what I'm saying? For reaching out, hit me up. Thanks for promoting the sauce. Everybody, go to 211merch.com. Grab the sauce. Grab a record. You're going to love both. I guarantee it. Like, for real. I'm not even... Bootleg the fucking record. You're going to love it. I don't give a fuck. You ain't got to buy it. I don't care. But you're going to love it. I know you are.
That's a great plug. All right.
Bootleg the fucking hot sauce. I don't give a fuck. Try to make it. You're still gonna love your bootleg version.
That's what's up. Well, this is Don't Quote Me from Over the Fear Of by DJ Clay, and we'll be checking in with him later. Peace.
Peace.
Hey, don't quote me today. I'ma say some shit that I don't really wanna say. Okay, don't trust any fakes. I can smell a rat a couple 100 miles away. Like bang, that pump me the way. Fuck a bulletproof because I'm shooting for your face. Okay, catch a motherfucking case. They gon' make me go and catch a motherfucking case. All I see is these clout chasers. Must have missed the memo. They ran out of paper. Haven't seen the world the way it used to be since the basement of my homie mama crib. Now what you want is what you're gonna get. Hold up, shh, are you listening? Now let me talk my shit. Quit looking up to me, your girl keep touching me. Why is you bugging me with all the fuckery? I'ma get ugly, have all your blood on me. Camera in front of me, plugging my company. Ay, now who wanna come with me? Fuck you if you do not fuck with me. Is this what you want? I'm here to stay and I can say that shit comfortably. Kids look up to me, chicks hiccup to me. This is fun to me, this is fun to me. Filled with drugs and ink, fucking till it stink. This is fun to me, this is fun to me. You wanted to hear me talk, so I could get all of you trolleys off. But I think that you got me wrong, cause that'll be the day that you won, and I ain't about that shit. events. Yes, it helps me vent. It ain't talking shit if it's true. If you take offense, then it's you. Cause I got some kicks in your size, and your bitch can fit in these two. Hold up, I'm popping off like a Fago cap. Cause my label got Legos to lay you back. Man, I just get sick of the same old act. I got ammo, but where should I aim it at? See, nobody thought the boy Clay could rap. Now I'm sitting here putting cocaine on track. Yo, I'm rolling out, making my neighbors mad. Bitch, I'm shining now, I put my name on that. Now who wanna come with me? Fuck you if you do not fuck with me. Is this what you want? I see the hate, but I don't give it no company. Kids look up to me, chicks hick up to me. This is fun to me, this is fun to me. Filled with drugs and ain't fucking till this thing. This is fun to me, this is fun to me. Hey, don't talk me today. I'ma say some shit that I don't really wanna say. Okay, don't trust any fakes. I can smell a rat a couple 100 miles away. Like bang, that pump me the way. Fuck a bulletproof because I'm shooting for your face. Okay, catch a motherfucking case. They gon' make me go and catch a motherfucking case. Producer, you done me.
Dang, DJ Clay, you can flow and produce and DJ? Get out of here. That was great. That song is awesome. Great interview with the talented man. Next week, we have George from Magic Ninja. And a lot of the Juggalos know that there was a schism when Twisted left Psychopathic. George manages Twisted and runs Magic Ninja. And so he doesn't really get into the feud, but he talks about branding and what it's like to launch a indie hip hop underground horrorcore label on the backs of the major distribution, the mainstream distribution that ICP had. It's an interesting interview. It's cool. And it's cool to have these back to back. So tune in for that. We'll see you in December. Thanks, Clay. And I'll see you all on Patreon. Check out that flavor. Talk to you soon. Thanks for your support. Bye.